favorite friends. Welcome back to Elaice Plays for another Stories and Scribbles. Today we're going to be reading the story Giraffes Can't Dance. After we read the story, we're going to draw a picture of a giraffe. So I hope you're ready. Make sure you have some paper, some crayons, pencils, colored pencils, whatever you have, and get ready for a great story and a draw with me afterwards. Let's get started. Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andreae and Guy Parker Reese. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rocked and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald, the animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing around. He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I am dancing! Yes, I am dancing! I am dancing! Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we have ever seen." "How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." The end. Isn't that such a great story about believing in yourself? I love that story. I hope you did too. Are you guys ready to draw? All right, friends, we're gonna start drawing our Gerald giraffe now. So go grab your pencils, crayons, markers, colored pencils, whatever you have to draw your Gerald giraffe. We're gonna be drawing Gerald standing nice and tall, just like this picture. The very first thing that we're gonna draw for Gerald is his long, thin neck. So right here, a little bit higher than the middle of your paper, I am going to start drawing his neck. So what I'm going to do is draw two curved lines, nice and long. So I'm going to draw one here and another one right here. I want to leave enough space for his head and I want to leave enough space for his body. The very next step is going to be to draw his mouth and nose, the mouth and nose part of his face. So that's going to be coming from this bottom line here all the way around like a letter U. Just like that. And to give you a better idea of what our giraffe will look like, I'm going to go ahead and draw in his mouth right there. So you can see that this is the front of his face. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the top of his head to the top of his neck. And I'm just going to draw a small curved line just like that so that I can have some space for his eyes. So his eyes are going to go right here. I'm going to draw one here, and I'm just drawing ovals for his eyes, and another one right there. And Gerald only has dots for eyeballs. Now I'm going to make a little curved line here for his nose. The giraffes have two horns on the top of their heads. I'm going to draw one and the other. And I'm going to decorate his horns a little bit more when I get to coloring with my crayons. Now I'm going to draw his ears. So Gerald has two ears. One here and another one here. Now it's time for Gerald's body. So I'm going to draw his back first. And on a giraffe's back, they kind of have a lump. So I'm going to draw one bump and another bump because they have such big bodies. Just like this. So I'm going to draw one and then another part there. And from this part of his back, from the bottom of his back, I'm going to start drawing his first long, thin, crooked leg. So right here, I'm going to go all the way down. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do your best. make a space for his hoof and go all the way up and stop because I want to leave some space for the bottom of his body. And right here, I'm going to make a little line for his belly. And then I'm going to draw another leg. So he's going to have 4 legs total. So here comes another one. And I want them to be thin and crooked because that's how giraffe legs are. Now I'm going to go on to his front leg, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here for the front of his body, his little chest here, and then I'm going to draw his front leg right here. Remember, nice and long, make his hoof and then go around, thin and crooked legs. And then I'm going to make my connection line here because one of Gerald's legs is going to go in the back, just like we see this leg here. So first, I'm going to draw my connection line. And then I'm going to draw one more leg right back here. There, I'm happy with those. Last thing I need to do is draw Gerald's tail. So right here, I'm just going to draw a line and another line. And I'm going to be drawing the hairs on his tail, like we can see here, with my crayon. So I don't need to do anything else with my marker. I think I'm happy with my giraffe, just like so. To color my giraffe, very first thing I'm going to do is color his spots with orange. Then I'm going to color in his tail, his horns, and his hooves with brown. And then I'm going to color the rest of his body in with yellow. So that's what we're going to do now. So my favorite part of this story is where Gerald discovers that he's a good dancer. So I'm going to be drawing this setting here. So I'm going to draw some grass and some bushes in the background. First, I'm going to draw Grass. Leaves at the top. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of jungle plants, just like these, in the background. I'm going to color in the rest of the picture with the green to make it look even cooler. Step is to sign your picture because you are the artist. Now we're all finished. Please, please, please don't forget to send me your pictures, send me your drawings. I cannot wait to see them. I've loved all the pictures that you guys have done so far, so don't forget to send those to me. I love seeing your work. Thanks for joining me today for another Stories and Scribbles. I hope you had a good time. I definitely had a lot of fun drawing with you today. See you next time. Bye.